Well, electric cars hit a big speed bump in the midterm elections. John Phipps looks at the reality of a world of electric vehicles this weekend.
Rural America, and farmers especially, are skeptical, to put it mildly, about electric vehicles. This attitude is reasonable, but it also may be myopic. We struggle to grasp what a tiny sliver of the auto market we represent and how little our contempt for EVs means. Some context might help. First, global EV adoption is not and will not be driven by U.S. consumer attitudes. China has grown to almost double the number of vehicles sold annually, which means car manufacturers will take their production lead from them most of the time. China's market will not be determined by consumer whim either, but by their autocratic leadership. The EU is also mirroring this trend to EVs. China also essentially owns the car battery market along with Korea and Japan, not to mention the required raw material supply. Adoption in the U.S. will struggle to grow until our battery supply chain is more diversified or at least more secure. Americans will be much slower to change compared to the rest of the world, and farmers slower yet. Our minuscule market share will not influence the future. Second, Americans, and especially rural residents, are justifiably leery of EV range, even though our trips are overwhelmingly short, well within EV limitations. From the ever-helpful visual capitalist, here is the current situation for that range anxiety. Despite rapid improvements in battery capacity, ICE, internal combustion engines, are really the only practical choice for country people. ICE vehicles have a vast infrastructure for refueling and do so quickly. Recharging stations for EVs are scarce and will be built last in rural locations, if at all. Electrification is not and may never be suitable for large equipment like farm machinery. The wild card, however, is rural solar power adoption. We have room for those arrays, which makes an EV logical as a short-range vehicle. Third, despite our huge size, America has followed a transportation path determined by our inclination for cars and airplanes. We are efficiently positioned to travel short and long distances, but are completely lacking a medium-distance alternative, namely trains. Consider that China has built 26,000 miles of 200-mile-an-hour rail in the past 15 years. EV range matters less there because they have a practical mid-range alternative. Regardless, given the size of our auto fleet, even reaching the proposed EV sales goals means decades before EVs outnumber ICE vehicles on the road.
Thanks, John. And that QR code on your screen will take you to more of John's commentary on our YouTube page. Well, up next, Machinery Pete has some classic iron. Tractor Tales is next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by NK Seeds, the fastest growing seed brand, getting you top hybrids and varieties that perform on your acre. NK Seeds. Bushels don't lie.